I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was going to do a couple announcements.
Okay.
I'm going to re-announce that the Atchison County Courthouse, Road and Bridge and Transfer Station and Noxious Weed offices will be closed to the public for an employee training day on Columbus Day, October 8th, 2018. We apologize for any inconveniences may cause the citizens of Atchison County. However, we believe that the ongoing training and exercises are important for employees of Atchison County to improve employees' morale and customer service for our citizens. And then I also wanted to announce that there's a blood drive at Memorial Hall Friday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m. for anybody that would like to donate. With that, did everybody have a chance to read the minutes? And I want to show you that this is I've had them add a line to the top there that I wanted to read that Chairman Knoll opposes the tearing up of the road as he is afraid that the road will never be resurfaced. So that's the only addition that I had.
The only concern I have is this is a far cry different than what was posted on the on our website. It stated in there that you referred to the situation we have on Osage Road and the fear of tearing it up. That's what was.
Oh, that was in the paper, I believe.
No, that was on our website minutes. I read the minutes on our website before I come to the meetings.
I don't know where that came from because I never compared the road with Osage Road.
If you pull up the website, that's what I read. But I'll agree with this because that's what you did say.
Okay.
I was going to bring that up about.
Okay.
You compared it to Osage Road,
Which I read. That sounds something similar to what I read in the paper, which was not accurate. I don't know. I don't knowingly ever compared the two. But is there any other additions or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, the updated minutes.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Commissioner comments and committee reports.
Nothing.
Yes, I did. Last week when I was asked, I did have a project concern meeting on September 19th, and everything was good, but Stephanie wanted to make sure that I thank the two fellow commissioners for the $10,000 that we give towards the van. They're very excited about it, and that was about it.
Have they purchased the van yet?
Yes, it should be. They should be getting ready to.
I don't have anything to report. Okay. Seth is to be here soon. Got a chance to see yours? No. There was three.
Sorry.
There was three of them.
I think I got that.
Yep. Well, I guess we can say, is there any new business before we get to skip over Seth for a minute or two here? Is there anything?
Well, this latest concern here may be new business.
Well, I thought maybe it'd be good for Seth to be here while we discuss that. He should be here in a moment. You said we did get the email.
Got the letter as well. Or did you just copy the letter off the email?
Did I copy it?
We have a letter here from Mrs. Crockett. So,
Well, it's just a series of emails.
oh, emails, okay.
Basically what had happened was that there was a proposal of an agreement originally with Hams. And am I right, it didn't get signed?
Right.
By all parties.
And
There's
they're-
Seth, wait for Seth to get set down there. Anyway, it's beyond the scope of, it was a 2-year agreement really on dust control at that time that was there. There are the county does get some allotment of gravel from Hams, and there was a payment that was separate from the initial dust control that was for help upkeep the road. So I think what's being looked at and proposed, and we want to talk with Hams before we really make a resolution or anything to the effect, but that is we would like to use that money as far as it would go to do dust control for the residents from the quarry north. Instead of using that north of the quarry. Am I stating that correctly? Is what we discussed this kind of at length this morning in workshop, trying to get where we wanted to go with this. So we would just use those funds then to go into dust control as far as it would stretch.
As long as those funds were available.
Yeah. Now, if Hams was to pull out, or we'd probably just go back to being a regular gravel road, and there wouldn't be dust control. I mean, this isn't forever. It's as long as current conditions are there and the funds would last. That's what we would try to put that money towards.
So
I think-
how much does it cost to do dust control? I mean, you would have to do it multiple times because those semis are going up and down that road all the time. I mean, you just can't put it on in the spring.
We don't receive enough money to do that more than one time. One time was estimated at 4,800.
It's 7 cents a square foot is what we're quoted at this year, depending on the chemical look and change. So, and depending on the linear foot that you do in front of each house, that's all going to make the difference.
When is the last time that it was done?
It's never been done.
Yeah,
I think the first 2 years is what I understand, but it hasn't been done for at least 2 or 3 years. Okay. At least 2 years.
I don't think it's ever done.
I think there's enough funds to do it once, and if you do it in June, that would probably take care of June, July, August.
Depending on the truck traffic, it's a possibility. It all depends on that truck traffic.
And the mailing has to want the truck traffic is.
Depends on the weather too. If it's a very dry year, it's not going to last very long. If it's a wet year, you have a better chance to last a little bit longer.
And I think the key is we have to talk to Hams.
yeah. So
For the
we're
final decision.
Yeah.
Because they might be willing to do more, I don't know.
yeah. If Hams could help out on it more, we could go further with it. But that's just our initial what we were looking at for an agreement.
So you estimated about 4,200, is that what you said?
4,800, wasn't it? Didn't you figure up 600-foot strips at
I think
7
about
cents?
46.
Well, there's two houses across from each other, so
So that'll save a little bit.
that'll save some money.
And that, I mean, depends on how much rock sold at the quarry, depending on how much money we get out of it. So that can make a big difference too.
And the reason why we put as long as we're getting that money available, we have other residents in the community, county, that's getting dust control, but they're paying 100% out of their pocket because the county doesn't have the equipment to do it, so it's hard out.
Yeah, I know people who do that. I was just wondering.
It's about $1,000 $100,000 per section that we spray. If we do the 600 meters.
There's 5 residents, as you say.
There are 5 that are identified in the original proposed agreement. And they are,
She's counting up.
5 that are across from each other. You're talking about.
there's
Sure.
1544 McPherson Road, 1515 McPherson Road, 1840 McPherson Road, 1877 McPherson Road, and 2282 McPherson Road.
So you say that there's a couple that are just right across the road from one another that would maybe benefit from that strip being a shared strip?
You're talking about Levinsky and Langs. Levinsky's so far off there, it might not bother him as bad.
Right. And those two are pretty close. Is there another?
Canes, I don't know what you would consider
Yeah,
a house there either. The old house no one lives in, and then the one down by the pond. But then you do have Kramer's at the top of that other hill.
Really, we could almost get it down to maybe 3, but you perhaps get a little bit more to make sure you give them the full length. But just more or less, whenever we decide to do it, we'll take out whoever the contractor's going to be and let them measure it out to what they recommend and go from there.
Yeah, but I think our next step is to actually meet with Hams and see if there's anything additional we can work out with them.
That's all I was wondering.
When they did it initially, how many times a year did they apply it?
I don't know, I wasn't out there. And I was trying to get it from my brother, what it was. He just said they did it for a while and then quit. And I can ask him to see what's up now, what he comes to.
I'm going to guess it had been once a year, but then again, like I said, I wasn't there for the first year.
I just didn't know it was so bad until I was out there a few days during the day, and sometimes it's nonstop with those trucks meeting each other. It's just, it's like dust. You barely get done breathing, and then it's right back, rolling right back in again. So, I mean, I grew up in the country. I grew up on that road. You expect it from the farmers, but certain times of the year, but constantly, those trucks going by.
How was that? Oh, I'm sorry.
And maybe, would it also help if they had a speed limit sign there too,
We discussed that at workshop as well.
And the top of that hill from Cummings, I just don't know how someone doesn't have a hill by now on the top of that hill, because you can't see anyone coming. And, so you just, where the cemetery comes down to where that driveway is, it merges together, and you really feel like you're going to get hit unless you're trying to be into the ditch. And I used to go uphill about 10 miles an hour just to avoid, a semi coming over that hill 50 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm wondering, was there, when we went through this agreement, was there a speed limit placed on that road? And there's just not been a sign posted? Just nothing?
Nothing in this agreement. We do have the speed limit. We can look that up.
I'm going to guess that speed limit resolution was.
That'll be a talking point to talk to Hams about.
Hams wouldn't have nothing to do with speed limit. It'd be.
But their drivers could be asked to
They won't do it
observe
till you get signage. Then you get signage, and then you write the first ticket, and they'll do it.
Correct.
How is the payment base that we're getting? Is that for so much per ton?
So much per ton of rock.
Hauled off site.
So that is, it's catch-22. The more traffic you get, the more dust you get, but it will generate more for that. So I didn't remember if that was a flat fee or what that was.
Whatever was hauled out of there that month, and you get, 10 cents,
10 cents, and it's tied to CPI.
Yes, so we should be getting low.
It actually went down a little bit the first year, but it should be right at 11 cents now.
And like I said, certain seasons there's very little hauled out of there. Some seasons there's quite a bit. So just depending on the market that month.
And that's probably why I've seen it earlier this summer, the trucks a lot more than I have lately. Then I don't get over there during the day very often.
During the summer months, we're probably hauling a bunch of chips out of there for the chip sale season.
Okay.
So that's what you'll see quite a few during that season.
Because that's the time that it's the worst. Because when it rains, the ground is nothing but like powder. And when Suss team grades it, it's like pushing big piles of powder from one place to the next. But if they don't grade that hill, it's like a washboard. You really bounce right across it. You know what gravel roads are like.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah, we all grew up on it, right? So anyway, I was just I have an interest over there now, and everyone's telling me all these stories, and I just wanted to come in, see if there was an agreement, what the agreement was, and then if anything could be done. That's all my questions were about.
Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, it's kind of timely because we had just been a couple weeks ago, we'd been approached by someone else. We were already starting to look into it because there was complaints, about the dust. So
We're gonna do something.
yeah,
Which address is yours?
Well, my brother's is 2282.
Okay.
And then we're gonna be buying part of the farm that's just to the south.
You gonna build on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you're gonna build on it, go down and fill out your papers for your tax abatement before you do any work.
No, just run cattle on it. We'll probably build a shed, but that's it. Next year.
okay. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So, all right, so
You wanna ask him your quick question, or you wanna sit in there?
I just do not say. I was just going to bring you. You brought me bridge information, and I think Pat had told me you really wanted to see how much you were affecting what kind of crop around in the acquisitions that were going on. So I just had you a set of 3 maps each, and I'm sorry I didn't get clerks this time. I'll email them one. But these are the 3 maps for the 3 bridges. And it shows you now. One of the things that occurs when we get information like this, and I called and spoke with the engineers and their surveyors, and actually what does occur is they do a solid location on where the road goes. And so, for instance, the 3rd sheet that you look at on Rollins Road, what you're going to see is there's orange lines there, which is where we currently have the right-of-way. And then the red lines are where the red outer line is where the right-of-way should be. Okay, so we will adjust all the parcels as we do things, but each one is labeled then as right-of-way 1, right-of-way 2, or some of them have temporary easements labeled on them also. And they also have a slight color coding on them. Anything that's brown like that is what we currently have registered as wasteland, that we consider it $10 an acre tax land. Anything that's brighter green is cropland. There's only cropland on one of these 3 sites, and that's the
3rd one.
Yeah, the 3rd one. That's the only cropland on the whole thing, and you're looking at from one person you're taking a 1/4 of an acre. Actually, from both of them, right at a 1/4 of an acre each is all the cropland you're getting out of them. You have a little extra in there, but this will show you where it's all coming from. These should be pretty accurate layouts.
Let me ask you this. If the road doesn't change north of the bridge, why do we need to go out there and get that much right of it?
That's a good question, and I don't know the absolute answer to it. If we don't own, I have noticed in all of these cases, they are having you purchase the roadway where the bridge is going. And it may be that they're easements that were taken long ago, and then they want you to own a fee simple title to the bridge location itself. I would understand logic in that, simply because rather than just an easement, you would have a fee simple title to that road. Pat can probably answer that.
I thought the only ground that we actually had to buy was that south of the road, because the line was going to go out by that light, electric line or something. But north of there, I didn't think the road was going to move, so I don't see why we'd have to buy that 1/4 acre north of it.
You're talking about the third bridge one, and I think the very top section is the one that surprised me, is on the inside of that curve. It's road 2.12 acres.
I don't get that.
Now I could see the one south.
Here, pull the bridge plans to show why, because they're gonna re-ditch that entire section there to make sure that drainage ditch that runs along east and west.
Yeah, but they're not gonna move it out there in that field.
But in order to work on that, they have, well, I guess they could do a temporary easement, but.
So why are we gonna pay for that easement and then put a tube and ditch it, and then the guys are gonna farm it just like they've been farming? That's wasting money.
They're gonna end up farming it anyway when they're through.
Exactly.
Now that, to me, this to me looked like this here should just go right up to about to this corner, from about this point straight here, and shave off that. But I'm no engineer.
I don't think we need to buy anything north of there.
Well, this bridge is going to come right in here.
Well, the bridge is gonna go right in.
The plans I have don't show
Right.
anything but right of way.
But
We gotta
then
buy
there's-
some ground.
I only got
out
two
there
sheets,
before
a
we
cover
do that.
sheet.
I think so,
Right
I think
away.
you're right, because as that bridge goes in there
Okay.
straight like this, then there's going to be grading and bank.
See, it's going where the red is, and I just don't know exactly where we're setting in here.
I'm pretty sure that.
Are they moving the bridge?
Yeah, the bridge is moving. It's coming
Okay.
straight across here. And it's coming into about that point.
We're
Okay.
gonna move that bridge, what, 30 feet, 20 feet?
Correct.
Well,
Basically, it's
very
gonna
much.
straighten.
Well, I tell you what,
It's gonna straighten this through here.
Yeah, I could see
It's
buying
coming to
right,
that point.
I can see
I'm
buying
not
right
sure
away
why
south,
that is.
but up on the north end, I don't get that.
I have not had a copy of the bridge plans themselves. All I got was the right-of-way plans. So if you would like, if Seth can give me a copy of the bridge plans, I can locate that bridge data on here so you can also see it on these sheets.
I think that would be helpful.
If that's helpful. I don't mind doing that at all.
I'll bring those in.
Again, the more informative we can be, the better decision you can make.
Now these other
I
two.
didn't have that information, and what I was saying to you is that we adjust everything based on the plans, so if it wasn't in the right location before, and we do that every time we get a survey of anything. Anytime a survey is turned in to the county, I usually take those to see if it means that property lines need to be adjusted to conform with those surveys.
This is what it should be.
That is what we currently show as the right-of-way. I am not telling you that's what it should be, I'm telling you that's what exists on our maps.
With number
And,
two,
huh?
on number two. So
Yeah, the orange lines are what we show on our maps, and so what we will end up doing is we will end up adjusting property lines to the surveys which have been given to us, and that's why I made a phone call to Kenny and said, where did your surveyors get their data? And he said they researched the records and they're willing to verify that that is the location. If that be the case, I don't need to argue with the surveyors. I will yield to their authority.
Okay.
I'll get those plans to you this afternoon.
Any questions that I can help with? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And if you want to come back down and get those plans, that's fine. I've got everything scanned in. If you got a chance to read through stuff.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Then, last week, you approved a bid for survey and staking for Bridge Project 3C 4871-01. The lowest bid was from Swab Eaton in the amount of $9,500, which was less than the McAfee Henderson Solutions bid of $11,918.27. In the last week, KDOT has informed me that they will include the McAfee Henderson Solutions in the cost share split. If the county determines to use Swab Eaton, the amount will not be included in the cost share split, and the county will be solely responsible for that cost. So you guys are aware of that.
Okay, yeah, we talked about this morning in work session. So basically, it was just a miscommunication, and so on that note,
I made the original motion to go with Swab Eaton, so I would like to, what's the right, reframe or?
here's the wording.
I move that we rescind approval of the Swab Eaton proposal in the amount of $9,500 for surveying, staking for Bridge Project number 3, C-4871-01 and approve the KDOT recommendation to accept the McAfee-Henderson solution proposal for survey checking.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Pass 3-0.
Don't we have to rescind the first motion of last week first before we do that?
You just did.
Okay.
We rescinded that, and
Okay,
so
so you
now
did that already.
it's all in one swoop.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. And then what I have is the Osage Road project, with the recommendation of King Construction at the low bid last week.
Commissioner Knoll noted on some of the things. The concrete price was a big difference in the seeding and what we were quoted on. But we are going to have that engineered by somebody besides King to make sure that they're.
That will be a decision that needs to be made off of the contract from Bid Flat, which they had presented. If you guys would accept to have an engineer inspection or an engineer down there to inspect the project, and we can make that possible.
Didn't we discuss kind of workshop for the difference in price of the three, that we thought it'd be advised to have somebody make sure that we're getting what we're supposed to be getting.
That the huge difference between the bid of $195,285 and the high bid of $351,138.50, we definitely could, since there's such a big discrepancy in the prices there, that we will hire someone to oversee that project and be on Johnny on the spot and make sure everything is correct. Not that I have any reason to believe it's not a good and honest bid, but it's an insurance policy.
I make a motion to accept the King,
Well, there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want to state for 195?
for $195,285 to King Construction Inc.
Is there a second there?
So, is that okay to second, or do you want to bring it so that issue up first?
No, I wanted to talk about the contract very little bit, but that's with Cook, Flat, and Strobel. It's not the issue that you're.
All right, I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman. We'll go with King.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and make sure there's no other discussion on this portion of our discussion. With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Pass 3-0. Okay, you have.
Well, with regard, there was a proposed agreement from Cook, Flat, and Strobel, and we have a lot of time to get this done because it's not going to be necessary till King Construction actually begins working. There's just a couple of things I wanted to discuss with them about the contract, but I understood the consensus was that you thought it would be a good idea to have them there on site to observe and approve.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go ahead and try to get a final agreement negotiated with them.
That's, I believe, all I had for today.
Okay, do you have that, what I signed this morning, did I have to date that? I may have put 9/2 instead of 10.
I actually left at the office.
I don't remember there being a date on that. So,
Okay, no, there's adopted by, so I can have Michelle sign out last
no,
night.
yeah, I didn't fill any of that out. It was just our
No,
signatures.
I can get all that, because I gotta sign it also. So I'll just adopt it to the last week's meeting when you guys approved it.
Okay,
That's all I have. Thank you.
anything else? Nope.
I'll let King Construction know.
Okay, back to this part. You're gonna get a hold of, talk to somebody from Hams to see what they're willing to do, or is
Yeah,
this gonna be
I
a letter
will.
form, or
Well, no, I'll be in touch with them.
Okay, thank you. Hand those, please. Any old or unfinished business before the board?
I noticed through the bills, and we owe them, we have some legal fees about the sale of the nursing home. I think we either need to progress or stop it, because every time we have a question brought up, we call it, we're getting billed for it. And rightfully so.
Who was that? Was that for Rosniak?
Tom Rozak, yeah. Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
At this time, what?
I mean, essentially what you're saying is that you need to decide whether you're going to sell or not sell, and that's a political decision. It's the vote of the board, and we don't have we don't have a proposal in front of us. You don't have a proposal in front of you, and if you want to discuss it in any more detail, I'd suggest going into executive session to talk with your lawyer, attorney-client privileged setting.
I don't know if there's really anything that we can decide now, unless.
Well, they sent us something and we kind of put it on hold because all three commissioners weren't here. And we've not responded back to them.
Yes, that has been responded to.
Oh,
and
it has,
we're
okay.
awaiting something from them.
Oh, okay, I didn't know we responded to them, okay.
I do want to make a motion to just continue to try to sell the nursing home.
Here a second.
Why, did you say continue to sell?
Just continue to try to
Just
sell.
continue to sell.
Failure on no second. So I guess that.
Well, legally, I think you gotta wait like 2 or 3 minutes. If there's not a second, then it dies. But we know it's gonna die, so do whatever you want.
The motion died for lack of second.
Yeah. Okay. Any other old or unfinished business?
I would like to, I think it's time to have a timeline for our strategic plan. Can we get Jamie on the agenda next week to discuss that?
I think I asked Jamie or somebody, and she said that she was waiting to hear back from Mrs. Rice, I believe. But we need to, because you know, here we were talking early fall, so now we're mid-fall, and before you know it, it'll be late fall and spring. And
Gets into December, and that's impossible.
yes,
And she has a phone number on here.
Yeah. So, and she has been in touch with her, but I don't know what point. So
So let's just have an update. If she
Yeah.
can't, if there's something slowing it down or whatever,
I would
we'll find
agree with
out.
that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Good idea. No other old business. County councilor updates?
Some time ago, we talked about the 911 sign
It's all
project. Those are a copy for each of you. And this is really
About
just,
one for the clerk.
yes, and for next week, maybe to have that on as a discussion item. I'm the only one that's really read it, so I would appreciate actually proofreading, and if I've got an error in there, please, a typo or whatever, let me know, or something that doesn't make sense. But in general, the intention is to authorize the placement of the signs, decide the specifications of the signs. Initially, the county will bear the expense of creating and putting in the signs the first time. Thereafter, replacement of that would be responsibility of the landowner. Well, you could read the rest of it, but I think maybe a discussion of it next week, have it on the agenda next week, and have Wes available to come, and Seth, they'll be involved with it.
Should this be posted so if there's any public input, do we welcome that now? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it'd be great to have it before.
Okay, can that be
Do you want them?
have this proposal posted on the website and welcome public input. I think that's appropriate at this time because they may have some good suggestions or opposition, whatever. I mean, we need to hear it before we just impose it.
Sure. I'll talk with Michelle.
I thought we had the money set aside for this.
Yeah, but
We got to talk about that.
yeah, we'll have to talk about where the funding's coming from and everything else. So that will be part of the discussion. Pat, do you have any other updates?
Yes. Let's see. I did send a letter to Express Lube about the storage lot. I did not send a copy of that to each of you. I could send you one if you wanted it. I sent it to Seth. I don't know what I was thinking, not sending it to you as well, but that did get sent last week. See, we talked about the road maintenance agreement. And no, that's all I got.
Okay. Executive sessions. With that, do I hear a motion to adjourn at 1:36, 1:37?
I make a motion to adjourn at 1:37.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned.